Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Friday Live. It's Ashley Hay, and I'm super excited to be here with you again this Friday to bring you some more arty inspiration for the weekend. So today, of course, we're going to be looking at how you can create incredible textured backgrounds for your artwork. If you missed last week's live, it was actually about creating colourful backgrounds to then work the texture onto. So be sure, if you missed last week's one, you can watch it in replay. And so you'll be able to hook into that and have a look. So welcome. Please let us know that you're here. I love to see everyone on and see what everyone is doing and where you're from, and especially if you're new, please let me know that you're here. So let's get started without any further ado, and we're going to have a play today with Easy 3D Flex from Powertex Art Supplies, and of course as well some Powertex Universal Medium in the Ivory, and there's also another product called 3D Sand, which is really, really awesome to use. So they're essentially the things that we're going to be playing with today. And so we'll hop in and take a look at some of the amazing things that you can actually do. So we'll go down to the art table and take a look there. Okay, so you can see here that I've got an artwork that I've actually already done. What we're aiming for is we're aiming for this. Oh, sorry, I'm just seeing if I can get up everyone's comments and see. So I think I should be able to see. Swipe left to see the comments. Hey, Robin, lovely to see you. And we've also got Carol here from Ladybird Creative Arts. Donna, welcome. Hello, everyone. Lovely to have you here, as always. And if you take a look at this artwork, this, of course, is what we're going to be looking at today. So how to create this amazing texture that I've got through this painting here. Now, when we do it today, it's not going to look like this first off because I've actually done other layers on top of the layer of texture that we're going to create today. So be sure to join the live each week for the next few weeks because we will be covering layered elements in an abstract painting over this series of works. So you definitely want to check in each week and see what we're doing. So when we do what we're going to do today, you're going to end up with something more like this. So it's going to be wet today, and as you allow it to dry out, you're going to actually get these incredible crackle effects depending on how you apply the medium. So this is actually done with Easy 3D Flex, as I say, from Powertex Art Supplies, and it has been distressed with some water as well. So you use the 3D Flex Ivory Powertex and then spray it with water, let it dry, and you get these incredible cracks. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And then if you don't want cracks, there's another trick that I will share with you today as well. So if you have any questions so far, just let me know. And let me know if you're excited as well, because of course it's always wonderful to get in and be creating and doing some exciting things. So if you've already had a play with 3D Flex and you absolutely love it, it would be fabulous if you post in the Creative Hub what you have actually already done with the Powertex, and we'll talk more about the Creative Hub a bit later on for those of you who haven't actually don't know what it is. All right, so last week I'll just move some of this artwork out of the way. And last week, of course, we actually So last week, of course, I better get something on the table there. We created some beautiful, colourful backgrounds And these are a couple of examples of what we actually did. So you can see me there fossicking away. And so if we take a look, you can see this is just a reminder of what we actually did last week. And I think my camera the phone has actually changed angle. Anyway, we'll just go with where it is. And so you can see there, I must have knocked it with one of the paintings. So this is what we did last week. So if you would like to know how we actually have done that, then of course watch last week's live. So I showed you how to get that beautiful colour with the liquid powers, and we also looked at using the bisters, which gives you a more muted colour, to get some colourful backgrounds. Now I've got a pre-prepared background here that I'll throw up onto the table, making some banging sounds, and that's where I hit the camera, I think, before. Okay, so here we have it. And so it is a little bit of a crazy, it's crazy busy. So it is a nice background, but it's just so busy and it needs quietened down. It needs a little bit of just some layers of play on top of this that is going to change it, because at the moment it's all very the same. So you've got this colour marbled through here and just basically the same colour, a bit flatter up here. So if we take some different elements into this, it's going to be a lot more interesting than how it actually is now. So I'm going to stir up some easy 3D flex, and I'm going to show you how to do that really large crackle effect. Now you're not going to see how it ends up today because it needs to actually dry out overnight to get that crackle really happening. And so if you try it at home, it's super exciting because you never quite know what is actually going to happen. So we have the, note to self, don't knock the camera. So we have the Easy 3D Flex from Powertex, and this is what we're going to be using. And I thought I'd use a little bit of the 3D sand as well, which is really lovely. It gives you sort of a gritty texture. And of course, the Powertex Universal Medium in the Ivory, which is fantastic. Alrighty, so let's get cracking with that. So you need a bit of a bowl. You can see I've got an exciting tool here, and we're going to pop some Ivory Powertex right into that container there. And I'll do a fair bit actually. We'll mix up a decent amount so we can really slap it on, have a bit of a play. And then we want to take some 3D flex into there. Now you want to do this, I generally just do it by sort of feeling, because the 3D flex is awesome when it is at this really kind of sticky, gooey, lovely, stringy point. See how that is really really lovely. And so working with this in your artwork is just gorgeous. I didn't actually mix up that much. I'll have to probably mix some more. But that's okay. This will get us started. So generally, if I'm looking to do a really thick crackle, I want to really slab it onto my artwork. So I'm going to put, you know, quite a lot of this into my artwork in a big thick slab, which is why I should have mixed more up, but never mind. Who's excited? I know you all are. So, and I know many of you that are here have actually used this. So the reason that I am doing this is so that you guys can actually have a play with it and really get those beautiful big crackles. So I had someone recently say to me in a class, they said, oh, you know, I just can't get those big cracks that you get in your artwork. And so I said, well, I'll do a live on it. So that's why I thought I'd show you this today. And so I'm thinking of a few of you out there, and it's a really interesting medium. It kind of does what it wants to do. And so if you don't get the cracks that you really, really love and wanted, and it's just a little bit too thin, it's not really thick and interesting, and you wanted it to be really textural, then just do another layer. So it's super simple. Just really play, experiment, and get in there and just have some fun and pull it out and just do it. Okay, back to the art table. So you can see I stopped doing anything while I was chatting, so I do tend to do one or the other. I find it very difficult to talk while I'm actually demonstrating. So let's get a surface to throw that onto. So I do actually want to put some very thick crackle on this piece. So this is actually a photo transfer that I did a while ago. I don't know, I just seem to want to work on it upside down. So it seems to be the thing. I've got a bit of dust in there because I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. But once I've got this all really goopy, I can just play with how I put that on there. Now, I don't want it all the same thickness, and in fact, I would probably even do it thicker than this, but I'll show you how this ends up. And so when you're working at home, actually play with applying it even thicker so it gets even more clay-like. So experiment with how thick or thin you play with it. Now, you notice a couple of things. See how I've got the two spatulas? So I'm using both of them. So I'm almost using this big one to dispense the 3D flex, and then I'm using more control of the smaller spatula. Just going to take that on there. Now, I don't have to make it all joined up, so see how lovely and stringy that is? Isn't that a gorgeous texture? So I can actually play with pulling some of that around, and it's actually echoing some of this texture that is on the artwork there. So you can see that. All right. Now, just use this up. So I will go into here. And so you can see what I'm doing. I've got this beautiful turquoise background, but I don't want it to be all turquoise. It's picking up the colour of the eyes really nicely. And so I could have done it the other way around. I could have left the turquoise on this layer here, but I can always take more turquoise onto this very textural layer in my next layer. So it's just about playing. Now I've got this very messy container here. I've got the start of a painting, so I'll just push that out of the way, and we're going to mix some more up. So this time I'm going to do a little bit more of sort of a runny mix, and we'll play with it a bit differently on there. So that layer that I've just done will give me quite a large crackle, especially if I spray it with water once I'm finished. So what the water does is it actually distresses the surface. So this isn't really a runny mix, it's still a pretty thick mix. Just put a bit more Powertex in because I can. So has anyone had, does anyone have any questions about the 3D Flex and using the 3D Flex? Any problems that you've had or things you've found? Maybe you have discovered what makes really good crackle and would love to share it with all of us as well, because it's always nice to share what you've learnt as well, which is basically all I'm doing. Okay, so we've got a bit more to play with now. So we can, again, just slap that on now. Look at that beautiful large lump there. I actually really like that. So I might not pull that down like I was going to do. And I'm just going to leave it quite dimensional there. Now, I could have actually left it really lumpy like it was. It kind of all fell really nicely and was all sort of textural. So we'll even just lift that up and loop it around again, sort of on itself. I'm liking this cardboard texture in here. So I'm just going to play with sort of echoing that a little bit, just with some, oh, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? I love this stuff. If you haven't played with Easy 3D Flex yet, you definitely need to get your hands on some and have a play, because it is amazing to muck around with. And if you love mixed media, then you're going to absolutely love this. It is just so versatile. There is so much that you can do. Okay. Now, I do find that the more you play around with it, the less crackles you will actually get. So if you can put it on in one application, you'll actually find it crackles better. This is still quite thin. I could actually build up another really lovely thick layer in through here, and of course I will finish that off. I might just do what I was going to do and mix up more runny mix. And yes, there's still more to come. So we're going to do something a little bit different in a minute. So make sure you stay tuned for that if you want to learn some more techniques. And see how that's just a more fluid mix now. So what I love about the 3D Flex is that you really have control over how much Powertex you put in with the 3D Flex powder. And so that means that you can do it really fluid. You can do it a thicker mix like what I did here. You can even make it into an air-dried clay. And it is really wonderful as a clay because it is very impressionable with textures, so you can actually stamp textures into it. Right, let's just pop this on here. And I actually want it to be a bit thinner because I'm going to just run that through there. And we'll run that. See, that's already started to dry off a little bit. Okay. It's very easy to get carried away. And I know, Robin, you're going, yes, that doesn't surprise me, aren't you? So welcome to those of you who are joining us today for the first time. So I can see there's a few new people. And I'm just going to slap some more bits and pieces on here. Okay, so I would really like to make a really big, thick area on some of this. So it's then just a case of I can just see how this has all got a little bit regular. So if I want to, I can just mix up a little bit more of the 3D Flex and I can actually put it in through here. Now, let's say I don't want it to crack this time. If I didn't want it to crack, I can actually add some of the 3D sand into it. And so what the 3D sand is going to do is it is going to stop it cracking. So if you add some of that, that will actually stop that happening. Back to mixing here. Get this all mixed up, and I want it to be a really kind of a stiff mix this time. So I think I just knocked the camera again with my hat, note to self. So anyway, lots of fun, lots of playful fun. And I think the thing that I find with a lot of people is you just want to pull out the Powertex and get started, because it is just about playing. Don't be scared to pull out your products and just have a play, experiment, try different things together, and remember that your Powertex Ultimate Medium is essentially going to act like a binder. And of course it does come in a whole range of colours, so you don't have to do it in the ivory. What I'm showing you today, you could do in any of the Powertex colours. So you could do it with red or black or whichever colour you would really like to do it in. I do love using the ivory Powertex because it means that I can then layer my next colours on top of it, and I get a lovely bright contrast to what I've put in my background. Alrighty, so back to mixing and getting that gooey mix happening again. Just need a little bit more. I've got a lot of dusty stuff there. Now I'm not going to put sand in this mix, but I will show you putting the sand in some, because I would like this to have a really big crack on this this top bit. So really, if I was working on my own and I wasn't conscious of the fact that you're watching me stir around Powertex and Easy 3D Flex, I would probably mix that up a bit more so that I don't have all of that powder hanging around the edges and I get a really smooth texture. But you can see that's pretty smooth, but if I mixed it a little bit longer, it would actually get an even nicer texture. Ooh, look at that. So see how that's given more variation to the piece. It's not all the same through here now. I'm going to do it on the top bit as well. You can just layer. I don't think I've got enough here. That's okay. So this top section has already started to dry. Yep. Fun. So see how that's just given it more variation. Look, you know, I could fiddle around and, oh, didn't want to do that. I could fiddle around and make sure it's okay. Now, if you do what I've just done, you can just get a damp cloth, so you might not be able to see that, but there is a bit of a string of, I'll hold it up for you. There is a bit of a string of 3D Flex there. And so I can just get a damp cloth because I don't want that there. It is not adding to my piece, and I can just literally get rid of that little flick that I made when I flicked some stuff on, and tidy that up so that I haven't got that stringy, messy bit there anymore. Okay, so that's one. So that's looking at the 3D Flex just on its own. And as I say, if you do want it to have really nice cracks, a trick is to actually also just spray it with a little bit of water once you've finished that, and then pop, just allow that to dry, and you should find that you get some really good cracks on that. So pretty exciting. I hope you loved that. And I will show you the Easy 3D Flex with a bit of sand now. Hopefully we're not running too far behind time, but I'm sure you're also excited that you'll love doing this. Okay, guys, let's take another look at what we're doing now. Okay, so I need another surface to work on too. So this is where I might pull this one out. I'll get rid of this other piece here. So this is a bit of a bigger board. And what I want to do on this is I don't really want it to crack because I want it to have smoothness of the water, but I want it to be quite textural, like you see the foam on the top of the waves. And so that's sort of what I'm thinking I'm going to go for with this. And then I can always take, quieten down some of these other areas with my next layer of colour. So ordinarily I would actually be starting afresh with a nice clean bowl. But of course, because I'm demonstrating, I just keep going. So you might be a bit like me. I like to do everything as quickly as possible. Those that know me know I'm a bit of an instant gratification girl. So I like to see everything come together really, really quickly. And I get quite excited about creating layers and things like that as well. So I've just put a bit too much 3D flex in there. I can't get it stirring up. There we go. Let's move that around. Now with the sand, you just have to be careful that you don't put too much in. And I have been asked the question, you know, why the 3D sand from Powertex? You can see it's very, very, very fine. So it's like a very fine pumice. It is beautiful to work with. So it gives you a bit of texture, but it retains the smoothness as well. So it gives you a little bit of grit without too much texture. Of course, you know, we have lots of sand here in Australia and lots of lovely beach sand. And this is not beach sand because your beach sand actually is quite salty. So if I'm going to use regular sand, I will actually use, this is from the hardware store. So it's nice and clean. Although sometimes I do like the bits and pieces that you get in other sand as well, so the more organic stuff. But like I say, because the sand at the beach has been in the ocean, which is salty, you've got quite a lot of salt in the sand. So you just want to be aware that you're actually putting that into your artwork. I've got sand all over the place now. Anyway, it doesn't matter too much. So you can see the difference between the two. So I can still use this regular sand with my Powertex. This 3D sand is going to just give you a different finish. So it is really awesome, really lovely to have in your mixed media stash. And I absolutely love using it. So I might just quickly dust all of that off. And I'm going to put this back down here because it seems to like stirring on here more than on my artwork. And it's faster. Have I already said I like speed? I'm not actually fast at everything. I do tend to procrastinate and think about my layers probably too much. I should set myself a time limit sometimes, I think. When I'm creating and in the zone, I can go quite fast, but when I stop and think about things, I find I get very in my head. So, all right, so we've got that. Now, instead of just doing it like that, I'm actually going to put some of the 3D sand into there as well. And you don't want to put too much in to the point where it splits. So if it starts to split, you just need a little bit more of the Powertex. But this will give you, like I say, a different finish. I'm going to put a bit more in. I do like the sand. Look at that. Isn't that glorious? Can you all see that? Oh my goodness. Look at that. So, and now I know because I've put the sand in there, it's very unlikely that it's actually going to crack. So it's just becoming familiar with what will happen when you do different things. Okay, let's have a play with this. I could keep going with this, but we'll use this like this. Look at this, isn't that fun? Ah! Ah, very organic. Okay, now that is quite a large spill. So I can actually scoop some of that up and take it off and see how I formed that into a bit of a point there. So as I'm doing this, I can actually be, I'm almost drawing with it. So I'm creating marks with the texture, but I also want some where it is quite smooth. So I can actually smooth some of it down as well. Isn't that gorgeous? I love this bit here. Can you all see that? I hope you can. That's in the camera, I think. And let's go again. So here we go. Another big splash. Oh, oops. Should have draped that down the other way. Okay, I'm going to take that off, right? So if you do something that you don't really like, take it off. Get your damp cloth. Erase it. Oh, sorry, my arm's probably in the way, but I'm just basically wiping that off. And then away we go again. So don't be scared of making a mistake. The great thing is that you can always change it. So it doesn't matter if you actually, you know, do something wrong, you can actually change it and make it work for you. All right, so let's do another splash there. I love this. So it's very playful, a lot of fun. And of course I can use my other tool to just kind of, I want it to be organic and do its own thing, but at the same time I want to control what it's doing a little bit too. So I'm happier with that. I really liked the first splash that I had there, but I wasn't happy with the end piece. So we can kind of try and do a little bit more in through there. Oh, interesting. Okay. And smooch it down on this side here. All right, so that's looking kind of fun. And do you all love that? Do you like the look of that? Something you'd like to play with? And let's use all of this up. And I want to do a few more areas in here anyway. So I'm not going to be finished by the time I've done this, but you'll be getting the gist of sort of where I'm heading with this. Oh, I love that one. So sometimes it just works the first time and you don't have to touch it. The less you touch it, the more organic it is, the less controlled it looks, the nicer your piece is going to be. So you can see I still want to quieten down some of these areas. When you do this, one of the really important things is that if you have a really beautiful part that you absolutely love, don't go over that part. Leave that part so that you actually have that colour, that texture coming through from underneath, and then create your next layer and make your next layer even better on the top so that you've got that underlayer and then you've got your next layer coming through. So I'm just going to use some of this last bit here because I'm just thinking, wouldn't it be cool just to have it like it's kind of splashing at the top? So like when the foam comes off the top of the waves. So I can play to my heart's content with all of that. I will be adding more. I can take this away if I kind of go, okay, I need a quiet area and that is going to be my sky. I can actually remove some of that and you can see that sand has kind of split a bit on that, but I'm just going to do this and basically rub it in And that way I'm getting more like spitballs instead of that sort of that sort of texture. Spitballs, hey? Spitballs in your art. Sounds great. Okay, there we go. So there we have it. A bit of fun and games with Easy 3D Flex, 3D Sand and Ivory Powertex. And I hope that you guys have just loved that. I haven't seen your questions, so I don't know, but I'll just have a look down at the screen and see if anyone has got any questions that I have missed, if I can see those. Okay, does the salt make a difference? So it's just putting that salt into your artwork. So I know that putting salt into watercolours will split the watercolour, but you're just putting sort of another ingredient in with your Powertex and your artwork that is a bit of an unknown as to what will happen. So yeah, just you can try it, but it is bringing in some impurity into the actual art supply and the product. So that is that. And let me just have another look and see if there's any more questions. My questions aren't staying there, so sorry for that. So how long does the mixture last? Yes, so very, very good question. I can't see who asked that. So how long does the mixture last? Great question. So it basically, the 3D Flex needs to be used immediately. So it's not going to last, but you have enough working time. So you can see I wasn't rushing. It is going to last a certain amount of time, but it's not like the stone art where you can store it and keep it. So anything you mix up, you need to use. So you saw I was basically using everything up. Now, if I have missed any of your questions today, I will be sure to get back in the chat. But my hope is that you guys have just loved the day. And of course, if you want to connect with us, the best place to do that is on the Creative Hub on Facebook. We have a very lovely community there. And if you're stuck with anything and want to know anything about Powertex Art Supplies, that is the place to ask your questions. And we also love to see your artwork. I particularly love to see what people have done following my lives so that I can see, you know, that I'm not just talking to a camera and that you guys are all out there and are loving what I'm doing each week. So please leave me a comment. It is really lovely to get your feedback. And if you do have any questions or anything like that, please don't hesitate to ask them. That's what I'm here for. In terms of the products, of course, you'll find them all on the Powertex website. You can also get them from a trainer near you. I know Ladybird Creative Arts was on today, and she is just starting out in Fremantle area. So those of you who are in Perth will be able to go to some nice new workshops, and Carol has been doing some really cool steampunk things with geckos. She's got a gecko workshop coming up, I know. So have a fun, creative weekend. Get inspired, pull your Powertex out, have an arty mess. And I'm just trying to think if I've missed anything. I don't think I have. So from me to you guys, have a great weekend, and I'll answer any questions later that I've missed. Ciao for now. Bye.